And hey there, hi there, ho there, hello there, and welcome back to another exciting edition of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast, where we bring you the joy and excitement of UofL women's athletics. We have a small crew today, just me and Jeff on board as our other three normal participants, although whoever called them normal is beyond me, uh, are off doing other things today. So we are going to man the fort here. A return to the old days of the basement on the hill when Jeff and I and Pumpkin used to handle this broadcast.
We
So
we might
what's
we might get a Daryl in. We
oh
might.
yeah, Daryl's a possibility. That's right.
Yeah.
I
She
had
had
not
an
seen
appointment.
him.
Yeah, she
So
had
go
an
ahead.
appointment and said she didn't think she would be back in time to start the show, but we encouraged her to join in if she gets back. So we may get her halfway through.
Absolutely. Yeah, it just depends. I know she's getting closer and closer to that magical day for her,
Yeah,
and it's quite
extremely.
busy. Yeah. I
What
think
it?
Tuesday night. Yeah, she's
Yeah, 2 days. Yeah, New Year's Eve, right?
going to be headed down to the glass works and
Yeah.
say I do and eat some food and dance the night away on New Year's Eve and a wedding all at the same time. It'll be the first wedding I've ever attended on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, cool.
So it'll be fun to go to. I wonder if I'll know anybody there. I guess maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
I don't know Jared. I
Yeah.
think Jared's going. But anyway, we got a good broadcast to talk to you today about. Some of the good things that have gone on. We'll go ahead, I think, and start it on out with volleyball. Unfortunately, the Cards didn't win the final game, and as sad as that was, there were certainly some circumstances there that made them less than strong as they normally are. And Jeff will kind of let you talk about that, as Jared put it in his article the next day, the cruel world of sports.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate scenario to end that incredible tournament run. Uh, Obviously, in the fourth set of the uh, pit match from the semifinals, Anna De Beer goes down with a sprained ankle, twisted ankle, rolled ankle, call it whatever. Um, Nothing like super serious as far as an injury goes, but enough to keep her out of the championship game, which really changes the complexion of the game, right? I mean, obviously, Anna De Beer is an incredible volleyball player and offensive power on when she's on the court. Defense, quite competent, very good defensive player as well. And obviously, we were all sad not to see her out there, but also the leadership, that on floor leadership and presence, I think, really colored things. So. Played competitively with a very good Penn State team. There were so many great stories around that championship match, and the De Beer situation was part of that, but certainly some great stories there, and it's two really good teams going at it. Mostly pretty competitive. Fourth set ended up being a little bit lopsided. Ultimately, I think Penn State just ended up being the better team than a De Beer-less Louisville team was. So um, national championship goes to Penn State. Another almost season for the Cards, but the future's bright. We got some great things ahead of us, um, and we lose some really great folks and folks that have been really central to the team. To the what they've been saying, hometown heroes. It's been the phrase. It's been used a lot, but a lot of great folks coming back. We've got some transfer news already, and some. It's 2025 is going to be good for volleyball.
It certainly has all the earmarks of being so. The Cards, like you mentioned, went down in four sets, but that second set just seemed to last until Tuesday. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
holy cow!
34-32. The Cards
Uh,
won it and just kept thinking, okay, set point. No, damn
just
it.
pounding
Okay,
and
here we go
pounding,
again.
and
And
yeah, it just
it's
kept. Yeah, just amazing stuff. Shout out to Peyton Peterson for coming in and filling in as a true freshman and coming in on the biggest stage in college volleyball and playing well, playing competitively, doing a great job. It'll that will pay dividends in the coming 3 years.
And I gotta agree with you 100% there. She is, and she's got this, as they like to say sometimes, the breeding to be a
Yeah.
good volleyball player. Her mother, a volleyball coach at UNI.
Yep.
She has a sister, I believe, that plays over there still.
She has a twin sister that
A twin sister,
plays
yes.
for UNI, and has two older sisters that are also twins together, that also played at UNI. One played elsewhere and then transferred to UNI. One played all 4 years. So all four of the sisters, college volleyball, three of them at UNI, and we're keeping Peyton. Bobby, you don't get her back. She stays
No,
here.
no, Ma, she's left the home now.
Yeah.
Send your other daughter, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, and certainly you got to wonder. I mean, just as a freshman coming in on a big
It's amazing.
stage like that and playing as well she did. I mean, she really didn't hurt Louisville at all
No,
in
no.
anything she did.
You
And
can see some spots where, okay, this is a freshman player that there's going to be future development that's going to make her just an absolutely amazing player, is my prediction. She was a good player, a player up to the challenge of what was presented to her, but she's going to be even better in the future. You can see that. A few missed passes and digs that I think Anna might have gotten to, but I mean, obviously not on a bum ankle, but might generally have. But you know, I'm not. I don't want to put anything negative on Peyton. She did an amazing job, and I'm excited to see her future.
it was kind of sad to actually watch that final match and see Anna just sitting there on the sidelines, and
Yeah,
you just kept hoping she would miraculously get up and run in and do something spectacular. But
yeah, and I'm
uh,
a little annoyed at the NCAA, by the way.
oh, well, tell.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's an evergreen statement, but on one particular thing.
Gee,
Uh,
you think?
yeah. So one thing you probably noticed, Anna was actually wearing a Libra jersey
Yeah.
in the final match. They knew she wasn't going to play, right? Her ankle was not up to it. They knew that, but they put her in a Libra jersey because technically, a Libero is a starter, and they're allowed to have two Liberos now. So Elena Scott and Anna DeBeer both are in Libero jerseys. Technically, that means Anna was a starter on this championship match.
Oh,
They didn't announce her as such. I mean, they put her in a Libero jersey so we would get that announcement, really, and be able to get the applause, and they didn't announce it as such. I'm kind of annoyed at them for that. So, yeah. Anyway, just add it to the stack of things that I don't like the NCAA for.
and then there's this pile, and then there's that pile that Jeff
Yeah.
had, and it's a
Uh,
bigger pile. Yeah,
yeah.
the NCAA kind of blew that one a little bit, but
Yeah.
as one of our readers wrote in too after the match and all. Of course, obviously, it wasn't the desired result
No.
that we wanted, but just look back at it in retrospect. We made it to the final game of the season, and I
Yep.
guarantee you, there's 300 and plus volleyball teams that would have loved to have been in our
Sure.
shoes.
Yeah, and somebody put it out after the match was over. I was talking to somebody, and somebody put it out with the ABC First Serve Showcase that happened, right? Louisville volleyball, Louisville and Wisconsin and Kentucky and Nebraska, I think it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was Nebraska. Yeah,
started the season almost a week before all the other teams. So Louisville had the absolute longest season of any team in college this year because it started a week before and we were playing in the championships, right? One of the last two teams playing, and one of the first four. So, uh, what a year that is, just to have that and be kind of like that part of that spotlight of college volleyball right now. That is getting so bright. So,
and it was indeed as the Cards actually went into that match with Penn State. It was right at the start of September, and the Cards already had two matches in the books already.
yeah,
Uh, had beaten Wisconsin, which is always a good win.
yeah,
Anytime you can beat Wisconsin, blanked, they got a shutout, pulled the rug out underneath a Tennessee team too as well, up at the KFCM Center, and then of course with Penn State, yeah, okay, fine, they swept us in three straight sets, but I think the team
yeah.
learned a lot from that,
Oh,
and
we played terribly in that match. So, like, that's not. I don't think that match was indicative of what this team really was this season.
it was a loss, unfortunately. But the Cards then turned around and went on a 6-game win streak, including a great win over UK up in Memorial Coliseum.
Yep.
And then, unfortunately, ran into Penn State, or not Penn State, but ran into Nebraska as Nebraska came to visit and got the shutout on us. But it's kind of funny. We had played all three of the all three of the other opponents in the Final Four at least once, and
Yeah. We played. In fact, we had played all of the Elite Eight.
yeah, when you get to look back on it,
Yeah.
it would be the Elite Eight, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it would be.
Yeah.
So, future, obviously the beer is going to be missed,
Yeah.
but I think she'll do well in the pro leagues. Obviously, there are some players that have decided, well, maybe I want to try another school. What do we got in that aspect? I think PK is down the road.
Yeah. PK is leaving. I don't think it's been officially announced yet where she's going, but one of the worst kept secrets in volleyball. She's headed to UCLA. So I don't know when that'll be officially announced, but that's where she'll be headed for her final year of play.
And certainly she was kind of one of that three-headed monster in the middle blockers that the Cards had. So
yeah,
and she had some great moments.
She really did. She's an incredible middle. It was interesting seeing that interplay between her and Hannah Sherman all throughout the season as to which was going to get the start and which was going to play. Sometimes one would start, the other would end up playing the bulk of it. Some of it just who's playing well that day. But also it was a question between the more offensively minded PK and the more defensively minded and defensively skilled Hannah Sherman. Hannah Sherman is a brick wall, man. She's an incredible blocker, so incredibly strong. PK is a little more offensively oriented as far as being able to put balls down on the other side. So it was interesting all throughout the season to watch that interplay and to see who was going to be getting the playing time.
And certainly both of them were huge contributors to the Cards. A couple other kind of sidelines here. Louisville has actually already picked up another transfer come in, and certainly one that's got yeah, talk a little bit about her. She's got some really, really good resume behind her.
Yeah, Chloe Chacoin is her name, and I believe that's how you pronounce it. I will double check when I meet her, probably in the spring. But that's how I've heard everybody pronounce it, so I'm going to go with that for now. She is a sophomore currently that's coming to us from Dave Shondel's squad at Purdue. And outside hitter, a little bit undersized, but hey, we have undersized hitters. That's what we do. She's 5'10", and I think Charity Looper put to bed any real substantive complaints about undersized hitters or discounting of any undersized hitters. I mean, look at what she did at 5'9". So, yeah, 5'10" hitter coming in. She's a great hitter. She did really well at Purdue, but I'm looking forward to see it. That's where our big openings are, I think, with graduating Anna DeVere and Charity Looper. Obviously, we're going to be looking for who's stepping up into that position. Peyton Peterson obviously will have a role in that, as we've talked about. I think Ava Utterback will. She will be coming. She's redshirting, so that's why we never saw her play this season. But we'll see her probably some next season. And then obviously Chloe's coming in to be part of that. And, maybe we get another transfer there. I don't know. Maybe we get another transfer at right side and maybe a DS. I don't know. We'll see who's, the transfer portal opening is still young. There's still lots to go, so we'll see what happens. But Chloe's going to be amazing. She's a great hitter, a little bit undersized, like I said, but she'll make a great impact.
We did get a chance to see her on the 12th of December.
Yep.
When the Cards were marching toward that final game of the season after wiping the sweat off their collective brows in a very close 5-set match against UNI. They had a few days of rest, fortunately, and then Purdue was next up on the docket, as Purdue was one of the teams that had advanced and the Cards swept them in three straight sets. I don't recall watching her play in that particular contest, but just your observations on how she did against us.
Yeah, she did well. The two main left sides for Purdue were Kloshkoin and Eva Hudson, both transferred. By the way, Eva Hudson going to Kentucky, so we'll see her some more as well. But they both did well. They both contributed. They're both really good players, and she'll be an asset. Absolutely.
As the Cards were probably the sole team in all of the NCAA volleyball tournament that played in three different home arenas
Yeah, yeah. I
this
think
year.
I have not been able to come up with any other team that could claim that. So I think we may be the only.
It's a dubious kind of title,
Yeah,
and it kind of just I think leads credence, and I've certainly been a proponent for it, and I'm all in favor of us getting a campus arena.
yeah,
The time has come when you take a look at who has been the most successful team on campus in 2024. It was volleyball,
yeah. I
without a doubt.
either a campus arena or honestly, I think we could probably sustain just moving to the KFC Yum Center as our home floor again. Um, I've talked about wanting to have a 6 to 8 thousand seat arena, and I think that would be great. But honestly, when you look at the attendance for matches that we've played at the KFC Yum Center, excluding Final Four, because it's kind of a special thing, and I'll even take the ABCA first serve showcase out of that. But the 6 matches, the 5 or 6 matches that we played down there, just as regular season matches. I mean, we drew. I mean, how many? What was the attendance for those? Between 6 and 12,000.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Big
that's
crowds.
6 to 8 thousand seat arena may not be big enough. It's crazy to say. I mean, it would be big enough. Air quotes on that. But you look at Nebraska, that's volleyball crazy place, and they play in Devaney, in the Devaney Center there, and Lincoln, and that seats about 8,000. But they also have multi-year long waiting lists for season tickets, which we have right now in the Allen and FCU Arena. I'd love to avoid that. I'd love to let everybody that wants to get season tickets get those tickets and be able to come. And right now we could do that right now if we move to the KFCM Center. But if we build a 6 to 8 thousand seat arena, it would be borderline for that. So yeah, I don't know. Both would be great options, I think.
I just anytime I head down Floyd Street, is if I'm on my way like to women's soccer or
Yeah,
possibly lacrosse or somewhere like that, I just look across the street over there,
big
and
gravel
there's
lot.
that big gravel lot over
Yeah,
there that used to have cars parked in it. I think they've moved most of the cars out
yeah,
now.
they're gone. Yeah, I
And
I, I do think it would be absolutely delightful to have those events be on campus. I absolutely think that. I just don't know about the taking on the cost of doing it right now. So
if you look at, and I hate to use them as an example, but Kentucky spent a lot of money to revitalize and kind of refurbish the antiquated Memorial Coliseum and built a very nice home there
yeah,
for the Cats to play. Not all. They still occasionally went to Rupp Arena
yeah,
to play matches, but the Cats volleyball team certainly
yeah,
loved playing there. You could see it in the fans.
absolutely. And the new memorial is wonderful. Went down there obviously this season and watched our match down there, and it's great. It's the updates were great and have really improved that facility a lot. I will, however, point out, to be fair, that is not that event, that venue is not exclusive to volleyball. They do other events there. So
Oh, that is true. Yeah,
yeah, because I think they have gymnastics in there as well.
yeah, they do
So
have a gymnastics squad that
yeah, at
takes
least
part in
that.
that.
I don't know if they have others, but so it's not an exclusive volleyball venue like we're talking about. But it's yeah, they dropped a bunch of dime on that, and it's good. It's great. So
And of course, they've been known to even go in there and play a little women's basketball at times as well.
yeah, it's been a while. But yeah,
Certainly, an arena that I wouldn't say model ours after what they have there because the labyrinth inside that place, if you're trying to get from the media room and the conference room where the post game pressers take place to the media seats out inside the arena, oh my God, you know,
yeah,
it's
I've
like
heard
where's
that. Yeah,
Waldo?
yeah,
We we were fortunate that we ran into the director of operations for volleyball up there, a very nice lady, and she basically took Sonny and I underneath her wing and said, "I'm going to assign you all a student, and this student will get you to your seats, and we'll make sure that you make it back down here." And because there were steps involved on where they had the overflow media sitting at, which is where we were, you had to go up about 10 steps to get there. They decided it would be a great idea if they were to take me to the floor above and then let me walk down the steps
mhm,
because of my knee, obviously, and condition. And that was very nice of them to do so. And hats off to them. So I'm not saying model anything after what UK has. I'm
yeah,
saying come up with something that with cleaner sight lines, something where you can actually put the whole media down
yeah,
on the floor instead of having to stick them up in section 111 up there in the where the $5 hill jacks are screaming "Go Big Blue" every time they get a fresh beer. Uh, I better not go any further. I think it would be a good idea though. But
yeah,
so looking at next year, Jeff,
yeah.
what are we seeing here? What are we thinking about this team?
Oh goodness, I think there's a lot of positives here. I think there's a lot to build on. Obviously, we're still pretty early in the whole transfer portal season, so what develops there will be interesting. Um, we've already seen some of the results of it with Chloe coming in, and we know about PK leaving via that. But what else happens? Who are the freshmen that are coming in? I don't know all that much about all that crew. We've got, I think, four signees: Chloe Meester, Calissa Blackshear, Addison Macon, and Hannah Kinney. What's going to happen with those coming in? Like Hannah Kinney, I know was in high school and club ball was a setter, but she's also not very tall. Um, Nothing against her. That's just what it is. She's just not very tall. She's probably not tall enough to be an effective setter at the college level. So, maybe see her move to a DS or libero position, kind of like Elena Scott did. Yeah. So you got that. Any potential other incoming transfers? I just saw somebody comment about the libero out of Indiana is apparently in the portal, and somebody thinks, hey, maybe she comes loose. I don't know. Who knows? But I saw that. Um, do we get another opposite hitter? Because, Sophia Maldonado Diaz graduated, excuse me. That leaves us only with one opposite, which basically means we don't run a 6-2. I don't know if we're going to run a 6-2, but, we did this year. So that if we don't have another opposite, we don't run a 6-2. But then again, maybe Alana Bankston shifts over to the right side. She can play any offensive position that she wants. She's very good that way. There's all kinds of possibilities. We've got a lot of talent on the squad already, signed and returning, and so I think there's some really great things to come for this squad. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, when you take a look at the roster, there are a lot of returnees that should
Yeah.
be able to contribute quite a bit. And you take a look at Nate Cabello, who
Mhm.
came in as a freshman and just certainly put the volleyball world on their ear by the
Yep.
way that she was playing out there, and she's just a
Yeah.
freshman, kids.
Yep.
So
True freshman. And that's still going to be a position battle because Ellie Glock has another year with us,
right,
and with Nail is doing a having such a wonderful year in the 6-2. What happens next year with that? Do we stay with the 6-2 so we can utilize both setters? Both are very good, or does Nay Ellis get the nod and say, okay, you're going to be our go-to setter going forward with 3 years to play? Man, I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to make that decision.
Hey, let's take a look at Reese Robbins too.
Yeah,
Certainly a player who came in at times as a sophomore, over there at the opposite, and did some pound work on the net with her
yeah,
kills and her dominating presence on the court.
yeah,
Certainly a factor I think that Louisville will be using as well.
yeah. Absolutely. She's great. She's another great blocker. Of course, she played high school and club. She played in the middle, so really learned a lot of those blocking skills really well. She's pretty good at that. Has a heavy arm. Really can put down some hard shots. So potential really is there. She continues to develop. She developed a lot from last year to this year. She developed over the season this year a lot. And she continues to develop. She could be a really good, really, really great player.
If you were to take a look at this roster, if let's say that no one else is leaving, no one else is coming in, and the roster that we're seeing out there right now is the one that's going to be out there to start next season.
Mm-hmm.
What area would you like to see the Cards get some additional help and security in?
I, gosh, um, I'd love to see another true right side come in. I think Alana Bankston could be a good second option there. But if we get another true, either dedicated or really, really high caliber hitter that could shift over to the right, I'd love to see the right side get bolstered a little bit. Um, Maybe a senior outside hitter and give Peyton and Ava and others another year to develop before they really take on that heavy role. Maybe there, and maybe a DS just to kind of bolster those ranks a little bit. We've got several, and they're all pretty good. But we've got like I mentioned, Hannah Kinney coming in as a true freshman next year. She'll probably shift over into a DS libero type position. We've got a lot of we've got Kim Tran, you got Molly Urban, you got Jessica Drapp, you got Sam Untee. They're all good, um, varying degrees of good, but all good. I think at the moment the libero jersey is Camden Schranz. Um, Again, see what happens with transfers potentially. But having
Are you still with me,
another,
Jeff?
yeah, you could. Can you not hear me?
It looks like I may have lost Jeff here.
Okay.
Okay, there he is. He's back
Okay.
again.
Weird. All right. Anyway,
That
I
was
think
interesting. Yeah, you just got to. It
yep,
was dead there.
it was still coming through on the broadcast. I think so.
Oh,
We're good.
okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I was saying Liberos and DSs. Camden Tran probably at the moment the Libero jersey is probably hers. Depending on what happens with transfers, Molly Urban, Jessica Drapp, Sam Untee, they're all good as a DS option. Hannah Kinney coming in as a freshman will probably be added to that mix. Who becomes a DS or and who starts showing up as serving subs maybe those are all possibilities. So that's what I'm looking at. Maybe another left side, maybe a right side, and maybe a libero or DS would be what I'd look at. But yeah, I don't know.
We'll certainly see what develops in between now and the start of the
Yeah.
season. As we look at the ACC, obviously, when we look at the ACC in volleyball, the, the city of Pittsburgh stands prominently right in our path. It's a program that has done some wonderful things, has done some great things, has been a continual nemesis for the Cards for I don't know how long here. And boy, you take a look at some of the ones they had there last year, like Babcock, for example,
Mm-hmm.
Tori Stafford. I mean, just
Yeah.
what was the one with the hyphen name? I can't remember her name right now.
Valerie.
Is
Yeah.
she gone
PPG.
after 10 years finally?
Yes. Finally.
She was there when Jeff Walls got on campus at
Yeah.
Louisville. Okay,
Yeah.
as a sophomore. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But thank God she's gone. But they just look to be once again coming back pretty strong to
Well,
the Cards, and they're going to give us a fit.
yeah. Yeah, they are. They've got great players, great talent. Dan Fisher developed them really well. Tori Stafford, you mentioned, as a sophomore. Olivia Babcock is a sophomore. We deal with them for another 2 years at least. Blair Bayless is a sophomore. She's pretty good. We didn't see her as much. Rachel Fairbanks is a senior. I think she graduated, primarily their setter. I'm just trying to look at it. Emily Klicka was her libero. I think she graduated. Um, just looking at their Bree Kelly is a Richard Jr., so she's got another year or two. I'm not sure of the eligibility there. I think one more, so she's pretty darn good. So, yeah, I mean they're going to be good again. They graduate a couple of really great players, obviously. VBG you mentioned, not Babcock. Fairbanks I mentioned is leaving. So you know they're going to have some turnover. But we'll see what they show up with next year. I'm sure they'll be good. There's very little question about that. The big question mark I think around Pitt is there's rumors that the women's national team head coach position is open. Karch Cry is moving over to coach the men. And I've seen Dan Fisher's name floated around as a potential candidate for that position. So they may end up with a different coach next year. No
It's
confirmation, no
certainly
inside
been a
data.
situation where the Cards, have got that nemesis up there in Pitt, and it's a great rivalry, and it's a
Yeah,
fun one to
got a
watch and take
got a
part
little
in.
chirpy for a little while, but I
It
think
did, yes.
yeah, I think that heat is kind of cooling down a little bit. We saw in all the press leading up to the semifinal match that everybody was being very respectful of each other on both sides. Which is good, I think. It is a good rivalry. They're both two really good teams. They're in conference. They see each other all the time. Makes for great TV when they're competitive. So it's great to see, and they really push each other. That's what they talked about a lot. We push them to be better. They push us to be better. It improves. Both teams improve as a part of it.
And we will cover in as much as we can with our staff of five here. All the volleyball news about the Cards and the league that one could ever want. Just tune in to Cardinal Couple and read the website each day because we definitely give them a lot of ink at our
Yeah.
site.
I want to shout out a post on Blue Sky the other day. It was yesterday, 2 days ago, last night, or a day and a half ago. It was in the evening. Got Matchy V4 is his username on Blue Sky, and he's a long time UofL volleyball fan. Not He's mostly basketball fan, but also supports women's basketball, a lot of the women's sports. But he posted, I guess it was the evening of the day after Christmas. He said, just had a long conversation about whether Louisville volleyball would have beat PSU if Anna had been healthy. Then a long combo regarding the state of the roster and the Purdue transfer. New world where we sit around and talk volleyball. All credit to Louisville volleyball and Dane Evie. And I think that really captures the zeitgeist of Louisville volleyball right now, right? Like this team has, through this program over the course of years, and certainly culminating this year at this point, has really become a team that gets talked about just out in general public. I laughed and I responded to that message because I just had a very extremely similar conversation about 30 minutes before I saw his message, right? With cousins that were over to visit. So absolutely, this team has built a program to the point that they're, part of the public conversation. And that's amazing. It's amazing for volleyball. It's amazing for this team. Um, and credit to other volleyball teams. It's not just Louisville doing this. It's all of the volleyball teams across the country that are contributing to this. But certainly Louisville's a big part of it.
And if you want to take a look at the most successful team, men or women, on the Cardinal campus in the year 2024, go no
Yep.
further than volleyball because they
Yep.
were getting to the final game, turning out such wonderful players, drawing such headlines.
Yep.
And
I also laughed at Mark Murphy's cartoon a few weeks ago. He's a political cartoonist, commentary cartoonist for the Courier Journal. It's not always political. he drew a cartoon where he had like a football player and a men's basketball player, and the under the words "We're back," and then on the right side you had a volleyball player and a women's basketball player under the words "We never left." So I was like, okay, that's really awesome.
Indeed, it is indeed, and
Yeah,
certainly, we're just looking forward to the season ahead, and hope for good things. You hate to
yeah,
lose De Beer, and what a history she's been, but hopefully she'll go on into the pros and make a nice name for herself, and
yeah,
certainly just
yeah,
and I'll tell you something else about her. The girl has class parents. She really
yeah,
does, and it
yeah.
was so nice to be able to be in when we played in the final games over at the KFCM Center, and we
Yeah,
were
you're sitting right in front of them, right? At
right
least
in
for one
front
of
of
them,
them
it's
in
semis.
media row. Yeah,
Hmm.
we were on media row, and there were I think several parents seated right behind us of players, but the
Yeah,
De Beers were
that
directly
whole
right
section.
behind us, and
Yeah.
uh, had some nice interchange and talk with them. And her dad certainly is an ardent fan, and he owes quite a bit and for his daughter and for the team and such. But
Um,
I'll tell you, we
I
met
have
Arena.
lost your audio, Paul.
Oh
I'm
my
still seeing
goodness!
you on the broadcast though.
Well, I am still
Oh, there
here.
we go. There we go. Okay,
Yeah,
it
and
popped
I'm
back in.
still talking to you, buddy.
Yeah, no, and I saw it like the VU meter on the broadcast thing, so I knew you were still going through the broadcast,
Yeah,
but
no,
I
I
couldn't hear
just
you.
lost you too.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there are gremlins playing with us today, Jeff, and I'm
yeah.
not sure what's going on, but
It's
I
just the
can't hear anything
connectivity,
if
but
you're trying to say anything right now. But
yeah,
certainly, I'll keep talking until I hear your voice chime back in here. Uh,
yeah.
it's moving, I think, to maybe a little different scenario here. We'll kind of leave volleyball for a bit. And hey, do you realize it's been a week since we played a women's basketball game?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
think about that.
yeah,
It
it's
has
been a
been
little
an
bit.
entire week since the
I'm
Cards
gonna drop
were
it
last
and go.
playing women's basketball, and they went down to Memphis, and obviously did not have a bad time down there at all. Was able to walk out of there with an 87-68 win, beating the Tigers down there in the Mid South Arena. Certainly a place where a lot of Louisville Memphis rivalries have taken part over the years. This was another good one, and it's certainly one where we saw Taj jump out there and say, "Hey, guess what? I'm a freshman, but I'm pretty daggone good. Look out for me." And so give her a lot of credit for the effort she had. But uh, they've had a week off, and now they head into ACC play to take part in the best women's basketball conference in D1. And yes, I said that out loud, and yes, I meant that. Jeff, are you nodding back there somewhere?
Okay, you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I got you now.
Okay, I dropped and reconnected, so I
Oh,
lost about the last. I lost about the last minute or two of what you've been saying.
oh, I was just rambling. I
Yeah,
was transitioning us over from volleyball to basketball,
and I've lost you again.
and well, I hate that, but golly. Anyway, yeah, we're getting ready to go into ACC play. Louisville at 7-5 this season. We've actually, technically, if you want to, I'm not going to pay much attention to the NC State game because I don't think the Louisville team showed up for that one. I don't know who those girls were out there playing Westmore and his Tar Heel bunch, but it certainly wasn't, or Wolfpack bunch, excuse me, but it certainly wasn't anything I was proud of. A 30-point stomping in our own court. But since then, they beat Memphis. Going to Boston College tomorrow.
Hmm.
They take on a little action over there as the Cards will go up there. Like I mentioned, 0-1 in conference play, 7-5 overall. Uh, you know, we're young, okay, and we've got to consider that. We've got to take that into consideration anytime you take a look at this team, and people will try to turn the other foot and say, "Yeah, well, yeah, you got Harris. She's been there a couple of years. Dude, look about Cochran. Look about Mercedes Rowe. I mean, look at Mercedes. She's been there for a couple of years. Uh, Yeah, but take a look at the 8 freshmen we got on the roster too. Okay, this is a young team, and maybe after 12 games, they're no longer considered freshmen in some eyes. I still
I
think
think
they're, yeah.
it takes more games than that.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. I've had people tell me, well, there's no excuse about freshman jitters. They've had 12 games and look at their schedule and look at who they've been playing. Okay, fine. That's true. And yes, they have had some very, very tough games in those 12 games. Okay. I mean, they could just take a look. They started out against UCLA across the Atlantic Ocean. Wow. Think about that, playing Paris over there.
Hmm.
And then went to Kentucky. Didn't turn out so well. A lot of freshman errors there in Kentucky, of course. With Kenny Brooks there now, he's starting the dynasty there. And the only question is can they keep him happy with money for him to stay? Because Kenny Brooks is a hell of a coach, and he's going to keep bringing in top talent up there, Jeff. He really is. Uh, but then, sure, we went down, played USF, a very, very good Jose Fernandez team down there. Played them in Orlando and beat them. And the others, Colorado, a good team that will probably be in the NCAA tournament. Yes, we beat them. Oklahoma, well, didn't quite go our way against them, as that was a loss, and also UConn up in New York City. And if you take a look at the two major big, we were never in it type of losses we had, UConn and NC State, it exposed a lot of our weaknesses.
Hmm.
It showed us some of the things we had to do, but it also showed that we have players who can step up at times and do good things, uh, but they're freshmen. And I still think there's a lot of work to do. Boston College, I'm not real familiar with them, and be honest with you, I haven't studied them a whole lot this season on what they're doing or where they're at. If I get a chance here, I'll try to pull up some information on them. But it's never easy to go and just kind of come back from your Christmas break and uh, say, okay, get on a plane, we're headed to Boston College. Certainly, you'd like to maybe be able to get back to campus and get settled after your Christmas break and play one at home. That won't happen until January 2nd, as the Cards will go out and take on a Boston College team that not too bad, really, son. And when you take a look at what they've done in the past, uh, your thoughts on it, Jeff?
Yeah, I like you. I haven't really studied up. I haven't watched much of Boston College, know much about them, but I, I've this team has been obviously it's a struggling year, developing year. We I think could argue have had some senior players that have not had the year that we had hoped. But then, I'll go back to when we were talking about volleyball. I think you could probably say that about some of the volleyball early in the season too. You show up at Penn State and have a terrible game, and Anna DeBeer has a terrible match, and comes on and joins later. So, like, I don't want to throw this season out yet. It's definitely not a season that we can, trash. And we played a lot of really great teams. You were highlighting them as you go through there. A lot of ranked teams. Um, I, there's potential here. There's still potential here, but it's there's a lot of question marks around it as well. So hopefully we'll see some development. Um, Hopefully this break has helped a bit. And then over, we still get a little bit of New Year's. We get a few days before we take on Miami and start into the heart of the probably higher quality conference teams. I don't usually put Boston College in too high regard. Though don't really know what they're up to this year. So I don't know. We'll see. I got a lot of questions and not a lot of answers.
Yeah, and I think most of us do kind of have some questions about what the Cards are going to kind of turn that into. I know when you look at a Boston College team, uh, they are surprisingly, believe it or not, 10-4 on the year.
Mm.
They're on a 4-game win streak, and if you I had to take a look back at kind of what they've done and how they got here to that lofty mark. And they haven't been playing the toughest top flight talent in the nation for sure. When you look at their schedule, they beat the Central Connecticut State. Oh, golly, how did they pull that off? They played Bryant. Uh,
Heating and cooling?
I
No.
didn't know that my heating and air conditioning guys had a basketball team.
Yeah. That's a
That's so sad. They're out there doing basketball and they could be working on furnace. No, I'm kidding. Uh, UMass, which in some years has been fairly decent, some years not so decent. Now they did beat Virginia, and I find that one interesting that they
yeah.
played them and beat them by 15. And Virginia usually turns out a pretty good product as a rule. But Arkansas fell on their feet by 11 there. Didn't win that one. Got beat by Oregon State and Old Miss, a very, very good team in past years. Kind of just wiped the floor with them there and
Yeah.
didn't
92,
make that one
55.
close at all. Yeah, they got beat pretty bad there. And then, of course, they beat Holy Cross. Well, how about that?
I mean, playing a high school team. I mean, cut that one.
Yeah, I mean, Holy Cross. That's surprised they didn't try to schedule Sacred Heart right after that.
Yeah, no, right?
Uh, New Hampshire, they rolled over, beat Providence, and
Providence. Yeah, that's not terrible.
fairly good at times. Yeah, a team that's not too bad. But then before that, lost to Harvard. Harvard can sometimes be good, sometimes be bad. So
You make the joke about Sacred Heart, but look up to.
yeah, and scrolling back up, they beat Sacred Heart.
Yeah.
Well, I guess now I'm going to be looking for Mercy on here next.
Yeah, an assumption, right? Yeah.
Is Mercy or Assumption on here anywhere? Is there a chance? Did they play Bardstown, Bethlehem? Uh, okay, I shouldn't make too much fun of them about that. But anyway, they schedule obviously who they want. But 10-4 is certainly nothing to shake your head at.
No, I mean, there's not a lot of superpower teams in there, but 10-4, it's a good start. And like you said, beating Virginia, something like, okay, that's interesting. You don't know, I don't know much about Virginia this year, but that's interesting. Beating Ole Miss, who's had some really quality teams of late, and I think was ranked when they played them. If I saw that correctly.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, 17-20. Yeah. They didn't beat Ole Miss. They lost Ole Miss, but kind of clobbered by them. But there's potential there. I don't know. We'll see. I guess we'll see what it's like when they actually get on the court with us.
They boast 4 of their players in double figures so far this season. Dontavia Wagner leading the way for them. She's averaging 12.6 points a game. Tiana Todd coming in at 11.9. Andrea Daly coming in at 10.9 a game. And the final one is Tiva Sidbury. Sidbury, a pretty decent player from all aspects when you take a look at what she's done for them and the way she plays. She's a junior. She's 6'1", plays the small forward position, and certainly was All-American ACC academic-wise last year. Okay, so she's definitely got the smarts to her. She did start her career, Jeff, in Utah, of all places, where she played as a freshman and helped them take the regular Pac-12 title her freshman year. One of the last Pac-12 titles we'll ever hear about, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And as a sophomore, was over at Boston College. Certainly a good ball player. And I think that the Cards will be, challenged a little bit with her skills and ability. But I think it's a situation here, Jeff, where Jeff Walls has had some time to work with this team since the break. And he's had them on campus.
Yeah.
And he's got to have, he and his coaches, gone over a highlight of things that the Cards have not done well. But as Walls likes to say, I also like to mix in the things that they have done well,
Sure.
so that
Yeah.
way they can
That's
get
good management.
yeah, and it's really, really, really good. Yeah, that's why he's one of the
Yeah.
best at what he does. And uh, of course, anytime you go to Boston, it's usually a rowdy crowd up there when you go up there to play them. So we'll see what happens with it as far as Louisville, you know, trying to get the W here. I'm going to put it this way: I wouldn't be surprised if they lost, but I'm hoping for the win.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not going to make any predictions right now with this team because there's like I said, so many question marks. Until we start seeing what happens going forward with player development and hopefully some better team play. We're gonna start building some confidence. Right now, I don't have a whole lot of confidence. Right, they may win because there's times where they just come out and do amazing things, but they may also come out and just totally lay an egg. So it's. I'm hoping for the best, but I'm not going to be holding my breath.
They defensively are not so bad a squad, though, when you take into consideration that they are holding opponents to less than 60 points a game, which is pretty impressive this deep into the season to still be under that mark.
Mhm.
And on the other side, they're averaging 75 points a game. So about a 15-point margin there between them and their opponents in their favor. And they are a squad that, you take a look at, they have launched this season in 12 games, okay? This is just what they've launched 279 three-pointers.
Mm.
Now, you take that into consideration, they're shooting, I don't have my calculator in front of me, so I can't do the math, but whatever 12 into 279 is, that's what probably well and more than 25 threes a game. And I'll even get my calculator out just to take a
Yeah,
look at it. Uh, that's pretty incredible right there. When you take a look at a team that can do that
yeah,
and
that is
shoot that
much.
many threes, that's a and this surely can't be right. But I'm looking at
Okay, I lost you again, unfortunately.
okay,
There we go.
unfortunately. Oh, okay, if you can't hear me, then I'll let
I,
you.
I, I, I'm back now, but lost you for a second.
Well, the Gremlins are having all kinds of fun with us today.
They really are. It's been in and out for a little bit.
So I don't know whether video is falling apart on us or what's going on.
Yeah, or my browser's not having a good day. Maybe I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, golly gosh, anytime you can shoot 279 threes in 12 games or
Yeah,
14 games, I guess it is. Wow, woof, that's a lot of threes being launched. And kind of taking a look though, some of the other things on their roster, scanning them. One thing that we always kind of try to look for in an opponent is what kind of height have they got, because we've got height. It just never seems to get in the game. And if I have a drawback against Louisville this year, is you've got two 6'5" players sitting there on the bench, Jeff. Let them get their legs loose a little bit. Let them run a little bit.
yeah,
If anything else, I mean, give them a
yeah.
chance to play.
That's
I'm
yeah.
not seeing any massive height. Mukiba, she is a center freshman for them at 6'5" and comes from Belgium. How about that?
Hmm.
Uh, so she played her final year at Winston-Salem Christian here in the States. And then Tatum Green, freshman forward at 6'3". There's a little bit of height there. Lily Krasovich, she's a 6'3" sophomore, so she's got a little bit of height as well. Uh, one that I remember from years past is Andrea Daly. She's a little 6-foot guard. She's a senior. Been there several years. She's always seemed to play pretty well against us. So 6'4". So they've got their share of height on that roster, although it doesn't seem like they start many of them. They are tall, kind of like us, huh? Uh, so we're hoping that the Cards can get out there and do well against them up there in their trip to Boston, because coming back on the 2nd, they will face Miami here at the KFCM Center. Miami, Florida, of course, ACC foe that has, in years past, tend to give us fits a little bit, sir.
Okay, I'm back with you. I'm sorry I lost you for a little bit there. I had to restart.
And I'm not hearing you again. But okay, anyway. One of the things that the Cards have got going for them is that they really don't have any of the heavy hitters in ACC basketball coming up early on. I mean, they could probably conceivably get all the way through January without playing one of the teams that the ACC is kind of trumping and putting up there as one of their top schools in the conference for women's basketball. Because after they finished Miami, they got Wake Forest up there. They play Pitt up there. They go to Georgia Tech, and now maybe that's one that's on January 12th when it could be a contest for the Card.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech always seems to turn out with pretty good hoops down there, Jeff, with Nail.
Yeah.
So, but so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm just looking through the schedule coming up. SMU, who knows? Notre Dame, obviously, is the biggie on February 2nd. It's the next
that's
really
the
big
one I was looking at. Yeah, in February that will be probably. And unfortunately, we get to play them first at home.
Yeah.
Because they're one of the schools that we play twice on our schedule.
Right.
Notre Dame has looked very good so far from what I've seen them play in games this year. So
yeah, at least in basketball, the games are a month apart as opposed to 3 days.
Yeah, that was kind of an interesting turn of events in volleyball. Yeah. Who is in control of the schedule?
Yeah.
Kind of want to talk a little bit too about just in kind of closing before we get into our final remarks. So we're very, very happy and very, very pleased and tickled for one of our partners here in crime, the Cardinal couple, Daryl Faust, who will be getting married on New Year's Eve. Her longtime boyfriend and fiance, Thomas Irwin, and her are going to tie the knot down at the Glassworks on New Year's Eve. I've never been to an event at the Glassworks, sir, so this will be a first for me. Do you have any experiences in that building at all? And if you do, I can't hear you if you do. But I'm looking forward to it. Should be fun. I'm one of the old fogies that'll be able to stay up with the young folks and party until dawn. if 1 o'clock hits 10, I'll probably be looking towards Sonia and saying, "You got the car keys?
Yeah.
Let's sneak out. Let's go."
Yeah.
But congratulations to her.
Absolutely.
She has been very, very good for us here at Cardinal Couple since she came on board with us. We kind of she had her very own successful radio show for a while and was doing quite well with that. And then she kind of decided she didn't want to get into that. And I was talking with her and I said, "Why don't you come over and write with us for a while? You know, we could use a good writer like you," because she did turn out some really good stuff. And she accepted, and we've enjoyed having her ever since.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so we'll kind of hope that all goes well for her on that. And they were talking the other day about her decor that she's going to have for the wedding. And I think she has like 18 Christmas trees, artificial ones, that she's going to have set up there in the Glassworks. So I can't wait to see that personally. That's going to be fun. I think about the old National Lampoon Christmas Vacation where the squirrel gets loose in one. Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
But that was a lot.
Yeah.
Grandpa, your wig's on fire. we've had a fun broadcast today, sir, talking about things and certainly looking forward to the activities that are going to be taking place here over the weekend. Uh, what are your final thoughts today, Jeff?
Yeah, mine. Uh, wow, just what a volleyball season it's been. The future's bright. We got a lot of great players coming back, but planning on trips to Indianapolis to see Anna and Elena play in the pros, hopefully, and then maybe a trip up to Madison to see Claire Chaussee and Anna Stevenson Hall play up there. So hopefully get some good volleyball in the spring as well for me. Be exciting times. So uh, we'll see. Hopefully,
Yeah, I think it should be fun for you to go see them in the
yeah.
pros. And just out of curiosity, how different is the pro format than what we see on the D1 college level?
That's a good question. Of course, these are two different leagues, so I don't know what they're playing. I think PVF, which Indiana will be joining the PVF this year. Indianapolis Ignite. They play. One of the things they don't do is they don't switch sides after every set, if I remember correctly. I think they play 2 sets, switch side, and then play the final 3 sets on the other side. So they don't switch sides every time. Otherwise, it's pretty similar. They do not have line judges. They use they touted the Bolt 6 technology that does line calls and does really quick, good reviews for like net touches and other things like that. So that's pretty cool. It's very expensive. That's why we don't see it at college yet, but maybe soon that'll trickle down into the college level. But otherwise, it's pretty much the same. It's not like a crazy league like Athletes Unlimited that does all kinds of weird stuff, but they're pretty straightforward volleyball, just at a higher level with some really, really good players.
Yeah, we saw just a brief example of that. What do you call it? AI intelligence calling the line shots
Yeah,
early
yeah,
this
I
season.
don't know if it's legitimately AI, but sure.
Close enough anyway.
Yeah, sibling.
It's not a lady up there either raising her flag or lowering it toward the ground.
Right.
So, uh, the final thoughts on my side, I'm just really pleased about the way that the Louisville athletic community got behind volleyball on their
Yeah.
march to the Final Four. It was obviously all the people that love volleyball had a lot to say, but Pat Kelsey, here's a
Yeah.
guy who takes 4 minutes out of his press conference
Yeah.
to talk about Louisville volleyball.
That's fantastic.
Jeff Walls, when asked the question, spent 5 minutes talking about how good this volleyball team was and how proud he was with them and what Danny had done there. Also, if you take a look at social media, you see support from people like Donovan Mitchell. We
Yeah.
all know that name pretty well. Harry Douglas, one of the best receivers to ever play in the NFL. Dion Branch, Peyton Siva. So
Yeah.
many famous people that kind of said, you know what, this is my school. This is my volleyball team. And I'm going to talk about them. And I love to see it. And I hope that it continues. And I hope that it continues to grow. And so, volleyball, job well done. One more step to take. And hopefully next year will be the year that you take that step and end up as the winner of the final game of the regular season and the tournament. Uh, I know we'll be cheering for them, and I'm sure you folks will out there as well. So I hope everybody has a good rest of your weekend. Appreciate you listening to this broadcast whenever you're hearing it. And as usual, we like to end with the go cards.